You passed your luck check. It's
Little Class Podcast with your buddies
Eddie.
and Matt. That's sweet. You were going to let me get the Matt in there first. What a guy.
Hey, sometimes you have to hit the mat.
You're all heart. You're all heart. I've always said that.
So is my doctor.
Exactly.
It's actually quite the problem. Quite the health problem.
I'm all liver.
That could be good, I guess.
I'd be dead by now otherwise.
If you were in France, they could like force feed some stuff into your liver and make that pate.
Ooh,
Pate.
Mate.
Mateo.
Sacre bleu. Anyway.
So that's what the listeners are picturing now. Getting some nice Ritz crackers and spreading out
Probably better. I'd probably
some
be
mat liver.
I'd probably be better on saltines. Even Millie went ugh on that one.
Millie?
Millie Vanilla, Minnie. Millie
The
Man.
official puppy of the Long Con.
That's right. That's right. She's fed on a steady diet of barbecue and Arnold Palmer.
Yep. Just like the official dog of the Long Con, Juicy Lucy.
That's right. That's right. She ain't that juicy, but not that we know of. Anyway. That went awkward. All right. So, what's going on?
You know what we talk about at the top of the cast because we didn't have any barbecue.
No, we didn't. That's
So
why
we
we're all deranged.
Go straight to the top of the cast topic.
It's great.
The Long Con. Badges on sale right now. Badge number 50 will be sold this month.
Yeah.
Or else.
No, we're very close to 50 out of 200. So chop, chop, you know.
If you knew math, well, folks out there, if you knew math, you would think that's almost a quarter right there.
Almost a quarter right there, yeah. So, you know.
25% gone.
I don't want anyone to be left out unless they need to be left out.
Left out in the cold.
That's right. And it won't be cold in Texas in November, but it'll be much more pleasant than our current 100 degrees in June.
But actually, aside from our usual tomfoolery, I don't think we have announced our newest, bestest special guestest.
Cool cat himself, Sean Owen Roberson. SOR. The man, the myth, the legend. Did you know he was there at the very first Long Con?
Of course I knew, but did the listeners know?
They do now.
So that could be some trivia.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. I like that. But yeah, he was there, and also at our one of our most triumphant years, 2019.
Yeah. Well, I recently put that as the picture for our little Facebook group for the Long Con. I was like, instead of just having the typical stuff up there that's on the cover of the page, put some people up there playing, and then I chose the most beautiful people. And then some of the other beautiful people are in the background. So if you're in the background of that picture, you were hand selected.
Hand selected. But I seen it. I was like, look at that. But yeah. Anyway, it's going to be good to have Sean back, and he's glad to be back in Texas, to have a reason to be in Texas. And I think him and Brother Watson are cooking up something extra spicy for our con goers.
Spicy and delicious.
Yep.
For the one listener that likes Torg.
And the one that likes
riffs.
But no, actually, Savage World Riffs is got quite the fan base, even here locally.
Does it?
If Brack-ish...
You can't believe him.
But, it's funny because ironically, he was trying to get us into Savage Riffs years ago, way back when we had the softbound books, But anyway, we didn't have enough sense to jump on that train.
Luckily, we dodged that bullet.
But anyway, yeah, hopefully he'll come out to see Sean and play some Savage Riffs, maybe even run some Savage Riffs.
Well, we'll see.
We'll be rifting for sure. But yeah, so Watson's baby is Torg, Sean's is Riffs. And so they're going to try to do some sort of sexy, cool crossover, as I'm led to believe. And we're going to be doing some stuff for charity, charity stuffs. We always love doing that, giving back. But
everything I do is charity.
Right, exactly.
It's out of the kindness of my heart.
This is the world's longest suicide note. But anyway, things are going good with the club, and we're moving possibly to a way cool new locale. So we're excited about
the Dragon's
that.
Nest.
That's right, the Dragon's Nest.
And since you have said two phrases together, two names, two proper nouns, at the Dragon's Nest next Thursday, I will probably be running John Watson's new special project.
You're going to be play testing that there?
Already.
You dirty dog. I tell you, seriously, guys, I mean this emphatically. I am hype. I've just known the little bit of tantalizing tidbits that I've been given. This is very exciting. I'm a little jelly. I'm not going to be able to make it.
But it is top secret because, for one thing, it's not ours to reveal.
Not our baby.
And then the other idea is it's so good somebody could try and scoop it up.
Yeah, this is something I could do. Somebody stealing this idea, so I'm glad he's chopping on it. But if you would like to be on the ground floor of helping form what's going to probably be one of the coolest, sexiest new game products around, be at the Nest next Thursday. And because if you're in, all I got to do is say the Nest, and you know what I'm talking about. You're down. You're with the cool kids. Smoking cigarettes leaned up against the wall of the gym.
Yeah, and they'll be moving in a little bit under a month now, so
yeah,
they're going to do a grand reopening.
Ooh la la!
And the Saturday of that weekend, I think that's going to be like the weekend of the 15th or something. Mm-hmm. That Saturday, me and Matt will be up there running some games to help them celebrate their grand opening.
Absolutely. I need to make sure I get that date so I can make sure I can,
But there will be free stuff. Fantastic games.
Ooh la la!
So come and check it out if you can.
And if we're running games well.
Yeah, you got 2 chances right here to come out and play with the internationally renowned,
or if not infamous,
role-playing characters.
That's right. That's right. We won't even charge you gas money.
They never get any class.
That's right.
They never class up.
That's right.
We were just talking earlier about our good friend Jackson.
Oh, yeah. Jackson H.
And I don't know if you have heard about that. Have you heard he's bringing back his podcast? He's ramping it back up.
Apparently his really was like some ooh la la. Like
he was somebody.
Yeah, he was somebody, I mean, because he had Dale Arden and other people on his podcast. And the guy who's going to be his new partner is like, I did a little research. Oh. This guy's somebody, too. I mean, this guy's like renowned kind of zippity-zap,
Well, guess what?
What?
You know who they want to have on their show coming up, don't you?
Who's that?
The No Class Podcast guys.
What? So they're going to just nosedive, right out of the gate.
Yeah, they're going to bomb.
That's so sad.
But we'll throw them a little pitch right here. The name is still to be determined. But have you heard some of the options?
Name to be determined. That's interesting.
Slaying Your Dragons.
Oh my!
I think is the front runner right now.
Cool.
So keep an ear on that. It's going to deal also with mental health, which is something in our hobby.
Absolutely.
A lot of us are basement dwellers, susceptible to the depressions and pressures of life.
Sadness, shyness, social anxieties and stuff. Yeah.
So I think it'll be really worthwhile. And like I said, he and his partner were somebody. So maybe we'll get some tips from them.
Right.
Find out how to do a podcast right.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's too late at this point.
It's too late. Now we're stuck in
too many bad habits.
They're ingrained.
All right. I am going to. That's my purse. Don't be messing with it.
Sorry for touching your purse.
Thank you.
Or your merce.
We'll go to the listener mail.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, we get so much listener mail that I have to just shift through the piles and pull out some at random.
Yeah.
So this week, we've got a email from Larry H.
Larry H.
Who discovered you through This Old Dungeon podcast.
Now, who does This Old Dungeon?
Lou, who is sitting at the other end of the table from us right now. He's on every show.
You would think. He's
hey, guys.
That was uncanny. It sounded just like him.
I was wearing a Hawaiian shirt at the time. So
right. Edwin Nagy and
Bill Barst. I got barshed.
I got barshed at NTRPG, but you'll hear about that later. But anyway, yeah, those guys, we both were lucky enough to have been on there and had a great time, great bunch of guys. And yeah, the exposure was nice. I like to expose myself, so,
I've heard that. And Bill Barsh should be coming down to the Long Con. He said tickets are in hand.
Tickets in hand, airline tickets have been set up, and we're trying to convince him to bring his special brand of shenanigans that we kind of stole the idea from him last year. We had our Dash for Cashews and the gorgeous board that our good friend Bradley had so graciously provided the miniatures for us to use. We're going to have that bunch of that good-looking table again, but to go with Bill's brand of wildness. It'll be interesting. It'll be a spicy mix. It's going to be good.
All right. So Larry says, I would like to throw my hat in the ring as a staunch Chili and the Beans supporter.
Degenerates.
So
is he
there
a
you
Texan?
Go. There you go.
No, I doubt it.
It doesn't matter. He's as Texan as you are, buddy.
I live in Texas.
Whoopity-doo.
I bleed single stars. Anyway. Carry on.
Chicken and stars.
Mm-hmm.
I love me some dark and light kidney beans and some navy beans in there with spice.
I love navy beans. I'll give him that. Navy beans are delicious.
Chicken chili.
I've made chicken chili.
Fantastic.
It's good stuff. A chicken chili, that's fine. And I put beans in my chicken chili.
All chili.
So, no, anyway.
Otherwise, you're just making marinara.
Whatever.
I'll give you some spaghetti to go with it.
Yeah, you know what they call it, spaghetti red up in Missouri. So
yeah,
anyway.
And Cincinnati chili.
I don't want to hear about it.
So there you go. If that's the kind of people you want to associate with.
Not at all.
How did this turn into the chili show? I don't know, but this debate is heated now, folks.
You know, this is a long-running feud. Apparently, he's a true fan. He picked up on that quick.
And he chose the right answer.
I'll let that slide. I like the guy in spite of that.
Currently running Curse of Strahd. Mm-hmm. Do you have any tips or advice about running this campaign? Or perhaps suggest one of Goodman Games' original Adventures Revisited sets? Mm. Plug our corporate overlord, you say?
What?
Heck yeah, we'd love to.
Yeah, and you picked also the right thing because Eddie's jam is abso-positively, what's that? The Realm of Dread or whatever.
Ravenloft.
Yeah, Ravenloft, the Realm of Dread or something.
Demiplane of Dread.
Excuse me. See, he would know. Be the guy to know.
Get your crap together.
Well, that's not my jam. If he was asking about Gamma World Post APOC, I'd be like, sit down. Time for me to shine.
What plane is Gamma World?
Gamma plane.
Well, do you have any tips or hints for running a horror campaign in general?
Well, I tell you what, if you get your hands on it, our free PDF, back in the 3.5 days, back when they were printing a new book every month, most of it was crap. But one time they did a book, and I used to have this book, but I loaned it to a buddy, and you know how that goes. Poof, it's gone. But there's a book on like role-playing horror, and really there was some really great tips in there. Because it talked about like when you're describing a room or creating something, there's ways to really ramp up the horror element. Yeah, it's because you could like, well, there's a room. But if you're like a dark, cold room, how you describe the room can add a certain horror twist to it or make it more ominous or scary or whatever. But it's like, I think it's called Heroes of Horror, and 3.5 D&D. Check that book out. It's got some great tips in it. So yeah, actually, I could suggest that.
All right. Here's one that I will suggest to you. Like a lot of music that I like good old Led Zeppelin has a lot of the light and the dark, soft and heavy. You've got to have humor in your horror game as much as you might not believe it, but you have to break that tension because you can't maintain it for that long. It can't be all horror and dread the whole time. Yeah. And horror movies, you see that there's always the comedic character and stuff like that.
Because they have to lull you into like, oh, they're cutting up and playing grab ass, and there's the jump scare. So you got to have a little bit of that to get them out. Because if they're intensely stressed out, edge of the street, looking around, whatever, edge of their seat, excuse me, then you got to bring that light tone. We talked about me and my post APOC. At one point, a buddy of mine was like, I want the stark horror, the dread of realistic post-apox people, starving and dying and radiation. I said, no. I said, I do my campy gonzo one because there's times when it gets dark and ominous and bad, but you got to have the light stuff in there or just people are going to drift away, I would think. It's like I talk about The Road, that movie. Oh, my God. I needed therapy after that. It's very stark and dark and, yeah.
Well, I think this is a theme we'll come back and visit a little bit, too, about just like it's too dark. It's always dark. It's always so grim.
Yeah. You got to lighten it up a little bit.
The other thing I would say for Ravenloft, maybe, depending on how far back you go with that, is like I have all the stuff. I have almost all the stuff that they've put out.
Yeah.
So if I was running Curse of Strahd, that's something I would do, is be able to come back in and just add that much more of the old material in and really flesh it out.
And you can get a lot of that stuff, can't you?
But like everything right now, the prices are going up.
Sure, but I'm like, if maybe like the PDFs, are they available? If someone's willing to go that route, I don't know. Time was you could find a lot of, but even that's getting where you can't find freebies on the internet anymore. So,
well, if you sell the pirate Cs, we found out for no reason, and not encouraging anyone to ever do this, but like, what was it? Archive.net still had some of the Trove stuff.
That's true. Yeah, but
not that you should ever utilize it.
Never. But honestly, most of the stuff's like, all of Goodman's stuff is very reasonably priced, and you can get the PDFs.
Well, that's not Goodman.
I know, but I'm saying, so definitely there's no reason. All their stuff's readily available.
But back to our corporate masters. Now, everything Goodman has is just fantastically appropriately priced.
And I tell you, if you'd asked about maybe some suggestions from DCC.
Temple of Elemental Evil.
What?
He said the old schools, what is it? Original Adventures remastered or revisited.
But I will say there is a line of modules that's their horror line. And they're really good. And so you might check those out. You could steal bits out of them, or maybe do a little tinkering and easily run them as a vignette in your
Curse of Strahd
Ravenloft campaign. And that way yours, spice it up, make it a little different than everybody else's or something.
But for the original Adventures revisited, as much as I love Temple, who plays Temple all the way through?
Nobody.
But we did play Borderlands all the way through.
That's true.
So if you've got something you're starting up, I would highly recommend that Borderlands book to you. I recommend all the books to you. They've got so many extra bits and pieces and facts. So they're all pretty cool to check out. But maybe the Borderlands is the good starting point.
We really got our money's worth out of Borderlands.
And Joe Goodman gets his money out of us.
Exactly. Or else, we get flogged.
I just want to get popular enough on the Twitch show that we can put another 0 at the end of our paycheck.
That would be
or
nice.
Maybe a number in front of all the zeros. He just keeps adding zeros. I don't know why.
Hey, speaking of which, where's my paycheck?
And that's when they got thrown off the Goodman Games network.
Anyway, it's all good.
We do this for the love of the game.
By the way, thanks for the question, man. I hope that was helpful. Anything else you would add there, Senor Eduardo?
No, but we love you, Larry.
We love you, Larry.
We owe you a shirt.
Yeah.
It'll be coming your way soon. We may wait. So if you don't see this in the mail anytime soon, but in the near future, I'll be ordering a ton of T-shirts for the con. So you might find one of those new exclusive shirts before anybody else does too. So that might be what you get. If you have a big preference, let me know.
Yeah.
And Larry's also been cool enough to check out all of our stuff that's getting uploaded on YouTube.
Wait a minute. You can now find our stuff on YouTube
the first
and SoundCloud?
20 episodes.
Ooh, nice.
And there's a few, I don't know if you've kept up with our channel like you should, mister.
Yeah.
But there are some video game clips on there too. Have you seen that?
I've seen that.
Did you appreciate that? No, you hated it?
No, but that's your shenanigans, isn't it?
Well, I mean, if and when you have some video game stuff up there to put up there.
No, I'm picking. That's fine. But I like you put your best run of like that thing in Dying Light where the best run in Haran. Yeah.
But we talked about that.
I know, yeah.
A lot, and we talk about Dark Souls so much.
I actually watched that clip because I remember you telling me about it. You said, because I said, man, I can't do it. And you went, yeah, you're going to have to. I mean, you were down to the last second when you did pull it off.
Well, Larry was saying there's so much content to catch up on. That was part of the little break. So it was like, all right, here's some shorts, some little clips to keep you entertained and let you know we're alive.
These are games we talked about. So
yeah. So I think it applies.
That segues.
And if you come into if we ever get a good Elden Rings thing going, we could put some of our stuff up on that too.
True.
Where we do multiplayer.
Yeah.
And if you want a multiplayer with us someday, you could end up on the channel.
Yeah.
How to get invaded. You got your kid Elden Ring, so hopefully we'll get to invade him soon.
He'll love it.
He won't rage quit at all.
Actually, I'm really proud of him. But yeah.
Thanks again, Larry. Thank you to all of you out there right now considering sending us some listener mail. Now I can get even more confused and say viewer mail too, because we've got both We've got all of the above.
Yeah. And actually, I got some feedback on some stuff recently, but that's probably for a future podcast.
Or a Twitch.
Or a Twitch. Ooh la la.
I'll just sit over here and Twitch.
Yep, all day long.
But that email address is
noclassrpgpodcast@gmail.com. There is no the. It all runs
Correctamundo.
together.
Correctamundo.
I told you my memory's getting better. It's scary.
All right. Anything else before we get into our little segments here, our routine stuff?
Not that I can think of. Other than, I guess, where would you want to mention in memoriam? Really bring the room down early?
Right after this. The next Twitch show is Tuesday the 21st.
Which is next Tuesday.
At 7 Texas time.
7 Central. So please tune in.
The live views matter. We get a lot more credit for that.
Mm-hmm,
but then you can go and watch the YouTube version of it a million times.
If we don't get our numbers way up there, Joseph's not going to let us do the podcast from his kitchen table. You know,
we really want to make that happen.
It's going to happen, but you're going to have to help with the numbers.
But we are doing pretty good.
We're doing great.
So keep us up there.
Thank you.
Make us the number one show.
Exactly. We want to be Matt and Eddie's barbecue time.
We're tired of being number 2 all the time. We want to be number 1 for a change.
Anyway, all right.
All right, bring the room down.
All right. So in memoriam, Ken Kelly, R.I.P. He did Kiss covers, Man of War covers,
Love Gun, Destroyer.
Yep. And I'm an old Man of War fan.
So go ahead. Which ones?
No, but anyway, yeah. But he did some fantasy art because I remember back when we talked about art that inspired us. Or certain novels.
We had some Ken Kelly.
Yeah, some Ken Kelly. So a guy was really talented, and so he's a lot of bleed over because a lot of old gamers are metalheads and vice versa. And like we said, fantasy art. So R.I.P. to Ken Kelly. You know?
I was trying to think, was it Franzetta that was his uncle or whatever?
I think so, yeah, or his father-in-law or something like that. And then Ray Rubin, the co-founder of Grenadier Miniatures, passed, I think, just in the last few days. And, you know, like me being there in the early days, I can remember those Grenadier
lead poisoning
miniatures and the lead poisoning, which explains a lot. But I remember friends of mine that had those miniatures and painted them, and they were just so cool, and we just geeked over them. And we were so that had a real impact on my early days of gaming. So, I mean, how thankful to Ray Rubin and the other guy, the co-founder, you know. But anyway, so R.I.P. Thank you for your contribution to my gaming and childhood, Mr. Rubin.
Yeah. Anyway. And Ken Kelly, thank you for all those hours of inspiration from the Kiss Love Gun cover.
Oh, yeah. Good Steffens. Yeah. Well, I thought for you probably about 20 seconds of inspiration, but whatever. You know.
Yeah, edging.
Yeah.
This is the stuff that you can't say on Twitch.
Exactly.
And you probably shouldn't say on the podcast, but there we went.
Here we are. We're so inappropriate. All right. So now, what would you like to speak
It's
of?
books and comic books.
Books and comic books?
Do you have both kinds?
It's like
Do you have neither?
Western. I'm thinking, to the best of my memory, probably neither.
He's thinking.
Nope. Yeah.
Well, I'm handing you off the Ragemore.
Yep, I have the Ragemore in hand. And
it will take about 20 minutes for you to read that.
Yeah, that's about right.
It's fantastic.
You'll have this knocked out in 45 minutes. Yeah.
Papa John raved about it because I took it to NTRPG, so he'd have something to read in the room. Mm-hmm. So there you go. There's 2 people at least.
Yeah.
On comics, this one might give you a little giggle. The last time we got together for the club game, Ron, our buddy Ron's like, well, he talked about comics a little bit too much. So I went back and looked, and I was like, that was 5 minutes. Yeah. But anyway, he was like, who reads comics anyway?
You know, because I was thinking about my stepdad back in the days, like, you and them funny books.
So luckily, our good friend Nicole is sitting right next to me, so I'm able to just turn over to the left and go, she does. She reads them. She's a big Batman fan.
Really?
So for Nicole, thank you for backing me up on that, that people are out there appreciating the art form.
Fully grown adults that lead regular lives, and you know.
You have probably already read Batman The Long Halloween for Nicole out there.
Yeah.
That's one of the, I don't know, top 10 most famous Batman stories or whatever. Really good. If you haven't checked it out yet, all of you out there in podcast land, I highly recommend you do. It's got a lot of the origins of Harvey Dent.
Oh, wow.
Can we trust him? Harvey Dent. Okay. That cracked Matt up. This is where we need the Twitch, or we just need the video cameras here so you could see this big smile on his face. He loves it. He loves all the Batman movie impressions. He's doing the Batusi as we speak.
I still like the time that we got our new COVID masks at COVID Con, NTRPG, and Doug, God rest his soul, you were over here doing the Bane, and he's looking at you like, what the hell are you doing? It was the best, you know.
I do not recall that.
I do.
But
yeah.
I don't recall Doug having anything.
It was like, hello, Batman, or whatever.
But if you give me a mask like that,
you're gonna,
because those were like almost like Scorpion Sub-Zero masks.
Yeah, finish him. Get over here.
Yeah. So if I have to wear that mask for more than about 30 seconds, it's going to be Bane time.
You're going, hello, Batman, or whatever you do.
Whatever you do, whatever it is that you do here.
You do, but it's so amusing.
So okay, before we use up our 5 minutes of comics here,
right? Oh yeah, tick dun 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 dun.
Batman: Long Halloween. Check it out.
Check it out.
Highly recommend it to you. It is a good story.
Sounds good.
TV.
What hell?
I'll be back later, folks.
Exactly. Let's see. On the television, so there's the new, what do you want to call it? Stranger Things came out, and the 4th season.
How strange.
And I devoured it. And I guess they went for an extra long season because they haven't had to put one out. They haven't been able to put one out for
But it's going to be a 2-parter, right?
It's a 2-parter.
So you're on the cliffhanger.
So, yeah. So I think in the past it's been like, 6 for a season? This had 7, and then you're cliffhung until, but the rest part's going to come out in July. Well, I'm like, what's going to come out in July? Why don't you just put it all out once? Again, that was always been the whole thing about Netflix is you can binge. And I'd gotten away from binging because it's just, I like to, take my time, enjoy something, and really be able to savor it for a while. But I'll tell you, maybe I was just that hungry for something in this vein. But I pretty much watched the first 2 or 3, and then I binged the rest. I just kind of tore it up in a couple of days. But I enjoyed it. It's kind of like Eddie's complaining about the very first season. I remember now.
It's overlong.
It's like it kind of drug in place where you're like, okay, you could be a little more concise, and it's kind of what G.R.R. Martin and Game of Thrones, one of the things you complain about, like, well, we got to sit through Daenerys. Come on, let's get back to Tyrion.
Yeah.
Well, now it's like they have
too big of a cast, right?
Well, they have this divergent story now, so it's like, well,
they split the party.
Yeah, so it's like, what are the kids up to? Well, what are the adults up to? Well, what are this other adult up to? What is this other faction up to? And behind the scenes, because they basically separated. Well, I don't think I'm giving anything away if I say it.
Spoilers.
They separate 11 from the kids. So there's
so
what's going on with 11?
No.
What's going on with the kids? What's going on? And then
did she get another fashion makeover?
Yeah. And then there's a character they introduced, I think last season 4, was Murray. Murray's one of the best things, and it's a guy who's a comedian playing him, but he's hilarious, and they give him some good bits in this. But at one point, the mom, played by Winona Ryder, and Murray are off on their own, and then Hopper's missing. So I mean, you have to see what's happening with Hopper, and so anyway, there's a lot of jumping around. And it just gets kind of where you're like, with all the jumping around, what's going on with different people. And you might enjoy that. But like I said, some of that was a little long. Some of it kind of drug. Sometimes you're like, and the kids are into 2 different factions as well, because there's the East Coast, West Coast. So, yeah.
West Side.
Yeah, so what's happening with the West Coast kids? Yeah, and then the East Coast. Yeah, so you can see how much this jumps around, and you're, in some parts you're like, get on with it.
You're not selling this to me. You were like, it was fantastic. I devoured it, and now it's like,
what I'll say is, a lot of times you'll go, this was great, and then I'll go, well, elaborate or whatever. Well, but so what I'll tell you is, I enjoyed it because, okay, proof's in the pudding. I binge these.
Well, give me a positive. Give me some positives here.
It was really great to
compliment
get back
sandwich
to this story. And I will say, in a lot of these vignettes where what's going on with Hopper, it's very interesting. I really enjoyed what's going on with Hopper. The kids back in Hawkins, I'm really engaged with what's going on with them. So, I mean, it's good to see the characters again. It's fun to see 11, and all that, and they've got Paul Reiser back, as the one scientist. I could tell you more, but I would ruin some of the surprise. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
But it's cool, some of the callbacks and characters that you're like, I thought that guy was dead, whatever. So it's kind of nice. And I like what they did with the new bad guy, which they're calling Vecna, like they used to call the other thing Demogorgon. I laugh. A lot of old school gamers are like, well, hey, he's got 2 eyes and both hands. You know why? But they didn't go that far with the whole Vecna thing. Copyright. But yeah, the
that's just its code name.
That's what the kids call it. You know, he's Vecna. But Vecna is pretty scary. And I'll say that 3rd season really didn't grab me. And I kind of was like, I think that was a lot of people. But 4th, a lot of the beats are back from what made the series good to begin with. So there's your positives.
So I'll say right now, I hope it's fantastic and you enjoy it out there, world. But I'm not really dying to go back to. Yeah. I mean, I liked it, but it's not like, oh boy, I need to see what happened next. Even though there was the one big cliffhanger about what happened to Hooper, right?
Oh yeah.
But other than, I mean, I've kind of already written that in my mind that it's like, it's all fine. He's going to be fine, blah, 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 and closed that chapter and moved on. And one of the things that's really difficult is with them having the child cast. How old are those kids now? Can they still play kids?
They're and I even thought about that. They still look like they could be teenagers, but honestly, they're supposed to be playing probably 15, 16-year-olds, and they're about 17, 18, 19. Like the kid that plays Will, they still have that dorky haircut on him, but you're like, no. And you get to these kids, like they're trying to be Hollywood, so they're like ripped under all this 80s clothing or something, and because they're like trying to be Hollywood types. And anyway, but it's still I enjoyed it. I binge watched it. I'll give it. I wouldn't recommend it if I really. But like I said, even recommending it, there's a few things I could knock.
And I heard they're bringing Eddie back as the cool new name.
Well, there is a character Eddie, which
everybody wants to be an Eddie now.
He's our dungeon master, and he's one of these, edge master hard mode guys, and wants to kill all the players. Total jerk, typical Eddie, But I love though later on he basically's like, I'm a big wuss bag, and I was like, yeah, there you go, see. But anyway, but actually the character's pretty cool, even though he's hiding in the woods for 3/4 of the show or whatever.
Spoilers.
But, yeah. I think
they will not forgive you.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I already know what it's like to hang out with too many Matts, so I would like to hang out with some more Eddies for a change. Too many Matts.
You might, maybe, who knows, this might be
too many Matts.
The Eddie,
the boom, and then it'll fizzle out like what is it? Game of Thrones. Oh, Khaleesi.
Oh, but one thing I did make some notes. So first of all, one thing I love about watching these movies or shows that are callbacks to a different time period when I was alive. That's why I love The Nice Guys when it's the 70s, because I love the nostalgia of seeing the 70s and the hairstyles and the way people acted. Anyway, on Stranger Things, it takes place in the 80s, and it shows Murray and Winona Ryder's character flying to Alaska on an airplane and some people smoking. And I was like, yeah, that's right. In the mid-'80s, you could still smoke on airplanes.
They could even have a bag of peanuts.
Yeah, right. Cause, I was telling some of that story that they're done with peanuts because of peanut allergies. And then one thing that was a really cool, one of those kind of nerd squeal, ooh, yay, is Robert Englund is in the movie. And that's cool to see.
Famous for the show V.
And for playing Freddy Krueger.
Never heard of it. I just remember him from the NBC series V. Do you remember that one? The sci-fi show?
I do remember. I don't remember him being on it, so that's what's hilarious.
The more hilarious thing about that is he plays the really sweet, nice guy.
Isn't that funny? Well, good, because I remember Mark Singer, who played in Beastmaster. That's right.
He mastered those beasts.
And then, so once I devoured those, I said, well, it's time to start The Boys. And I watched the first two The Boys. And
speaking of not being able to binge, Amazon's putting those drip out on just Fridays.
I hate them for
and
that.
You fell into their little trap and watched the first two, huh?
Well, I didn't know they were doing that, but I should have known. See, I'll wait till they're all out, because don't play that game with me.
So what did you think?
Well, they're on par. I enjoyed it, but I'll say, God, they're not afraid to show how supers could be just really degenerate and awful or something, So I got to share this just because, yeah. So in the very first one, and probably in about the first 30 minutes, there's a character that's like an Ant-Man type. Mm-hmm. Have you heard about this or seen it?
Mm-hmm.
And so him and his SO are doing some coke together, and the guy shrinks down and crawls up his partner's urethra.
Lemmy winks for you South Park fans.
His urethra. And so, which is, if you don't know, is the pee hole. And so he's stimulating his boyfriend from inside of his penis. But remember, this is important foreshadowing that they both did a bump of coke before they did this. Well, the guy got a coke sneeze. And when he does, he loses control of his powers. He rips his lover in two. And you're like, holy shit. I mean, you know, it's graphic, there's blood, and there's dudes crawling up other dudes' pee holes. But so, I mean, it's the boys.
If that doesn't sell it to you, what will?
Yeah, if that didn't send you running and packing. But yeah, but otherwise, I enjoyed it.
So, unlike some people, I'm 4 episodes in.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I really got sucked into it.
I love you trying to give me this guilt trippers up over here. Yeah, so you're 4 in. Wow.
Yeah, so I am enjoying it. It's pretty good. I guess this could be a spoiler, but their advertisements have had it already. Have you seen the Butcher get superpowers?
Oh, I've actually seen that episode.
Yeah, okay. So that was pretty good.
Oh, yeah, I love, when the one guy just blazes on him with like a gun, and this guy's like, that's his superpower, is like at one point they show him bounce.
Like Hawkeye.
Like a bullet off, like a car door, off of a concrete pillar, off of this other thing, and then, you know, it hits Butcher's cheek or whatever, and you're like, damn, you know. So, you know, like this guy's, well, finally he gets a clean shot at Butcher and just nails him with a ton of bullets. And then you're figuring, well, Butcher's done for. And the guy comes over and Butcher pops up and the bullets just fall off of him. And you're like, yep, Butcher took the super serum or whatever. But boy, the repercussions of taking it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway.
So the boys, you should know by now if you like it or not. If you have not taken our advice and watched it, watch it. Hey, what are you doing? Go watch it.
Hey, forget about it. But yeah, I was gonna say, if I didn't scare you off with talking about, you know, the typical stuff in an episode, then
it's not family friendly.
No, gosh, no. Anyway, but it's interesting that, you know, if superheroes were real and how degenerate and awful these people think they would have to be. All right.
You got another one?
No, I'm pretty sure that was it.
All right. Well, speaking of family appropriate entertainment, have you watched The Handmaid's Tale on Hulu?
No.
I have. It's actually pretty good.
Okay.
Do you know anything about it?
I'm somewhat familiar.
Somebody in your house must have loved that show.
No. Mm-mm.
See, this is where you need Twitch again, because I'm having to pry Matt, but you can obviously see it in his face that somebody watched that show and then murdered a member of his family.
No, I am familiar with the show and its concepts.
See, this is, again, back to the video thing, because now I'm terrified by what this means. I am beginning to think he's living this lifestyle.
Oh, duh. I should be so lucky, but anyway.
So I think they're up to season 4 now, and they're filming season 5.
They got the gal who's such a standout actress on Mad Men. I know she's the main character.
Elizabeth Moss, I think.
Yeah, she's a standout actress. So yeah.
So pretty good. Yet another kind of post-apocalyptic show.
Yeah.
So it's after
or dystopian or whatever.
Yeah, it's this is not really spoilers, but basically the U.S. has had kind of another civil war, and they have chemically attacked, if not nuclear attacked, a lot of parts of the country. So there's fallout all over the place, or at least, you know, chemical spills that they're trying to clean up from. So there's so much unusable land now. They're are starving in different locations and stuff like that. So yeah. But one of the cool things was they have the map of like the U.S. now and what this new Gilead controls that's taken over from the U.S. They ain't got Texas and Louisiana.
Oh my!
Couldn't take us.
That's right.
So even in the post-apocalypse, think about that.
That's right.
Don't mess with Texas.
Don't mess with Texas.
I thought it was a pretty interesting show. It's very soap opera-esque. There's always some new crap around every corner. They know how to end on a cliffhanger for every episode where you're like, I got to see the next one.
You bastards, yeah.
So it was really good with that.
Then you're up till 1 a.m, yeah, because you know.
And I will give you the trigger warning, though. There is quite a bit of this.
What is that?
Where it's like you really don't know, or you do know, since you're familiar with some of the concepts.
Let's see if what I've heard plays out as truth, because your kids shouldn't always believe what you hear. I always try to verify, but let's see.
Well, I mean, when you talk about trigger warning, what am I allowed to say now, right?
Right.
Before somebody could be triggered.
Exactly.
to put it lightly, sexual assault.
Oh wow!
How about that?
Yeah. So I mean, I've just heard a lot of different stuff about it. That it's controversial. I'll put it that way. Yeah.
And it is kind of like Game of Thrones or one of those where it's like it's grim and dark and keeps on being grim and dark.
So if you're one of you might go, whoa, I need a break from this, a little something happy and laughy and sunny or whatever.
Because my wife has watched like an episode with me and I give her the updates, but I don't think she could watch it just because it is that grim and dark and there's no light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, you end up being able to stomach the show, but you couldn't even finish the Game of Thrones books because it just got so dark and depressing, and it just keep killing. They make sure, and I give GR that, kind of like how, King can get you really invested in his characters, and you're like, you want to know what happens after the book or something like that. You feel like a real person, and you're engaged with their life. I'll give that. Martin could get you really engaged with somebody. He's masterful at that, and then he immediately proceeds to kill him, and you're like, I hate you, Martin, And so how much that can you take before you're like, we're in an abusive relationship with J.R.R. Martin? Or, well, definitely since he won't finish his books after how many years. But I just want to kind of, if I saw him at a nerd con, I'd want to spit in his face or something, but it's your books, old man,
But to go back to that, it can't all be unrelenting darkness.
Yeah,
there are laughs in the show.
Oh, okay.
There's some pretty dark
humor.
I'm sure, like when one of the ladies breaks away and runs over one of the guardians. And smashes his head under a tire. You're like, T, and you're like, well, normally
that wouldn't
be the sort of thing you get a chuckle out of. But there's some dark humor, I guess, to go along with your dark, gritty world. So, depending on who you are and the things that you like, maybe The Handmaid's Tale is for you.
Yeah. Well, I remember. I won't go there. But anyway, yeah. So,
one more on TV.
Okay.
We've talked about this one already. So, just a quick hit: The Orville.
Oh yeah. It's back, isn't it?
It's back again for another season. I think Norm Macdonald was able to play his character all the way through, so that's kind of cool to see some more Norm Macdonald. I like his character on there. Have you watched the show?
No,
he's a blob.
Yeah, which I'm sure he's hilarious as a blob. It seemed like that would fit him, but no. Well,
he seems like the guy that would be a blob.
I mean, seriously, him as a pigeon on the Mike Tyson Mysteries. He's the best thing about the Mike Tyson.
It's more of like a really quick-witted, smart-ass, whatever.
Yeah.
We're going to have a pigeon. Okay, anybody could play that. It's got to be a quick-witted, smart-ass pigeon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, a smart-ass blob. Oh, okay, he'll be good at it.
Yeah, no, but I mean, Norm was brilliant. And I hate that he's gone, but it's definitely, I've been meaning to watch it because you recommended it, and I've known some other people that have raved about it. But definitely now knowing Norm's on there, that'll be that little last touchstone with Norm, so that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, well, if you do start watching it, in the first few episodes, they try to be a little bit more comedy, but then they fall off from that and become Star Trek.
Yeah.
So really good. If you like Star Trek, you probably will like this.
And I do. It's kind of like, I know it's kind of like people, I love when they hear they know you're a nerd or a geek or something like that.
Nerd.
They're like, well, you must love Star Wars and Star Trek. It's like, love's a strong word. I don't use love or hate. I try not to. I mean, for real. But no, I don't love.
But you've got your other nerd fandom that you love.
Yeah, and that's true. But what I'll say is, I appreciate Star Trek. I appreciate Star Wars as what they are in the culture. But I'm not one of these rabid. I don't know anymore. But Gary used to be quite the Trek fan. I mean, he was a big Trek guy.
I can believe it. Papa John too.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, definitely. What is it? What are they called? Not Next Edition, but. That's a band or something. Yeah.
Next Generation.
Next Generation. Yeah, that's one that I know a lot of people are like, ooh, which I'm old school. I love that Desilu color, because the redhead actually was one that originally believed in them and backed them. Lucille Ball. And she backed the original show, and I love the old show,
This one's probably a lot more Next Generation.
Yeah, I can see that. But then I hear that they've just brought back started a new Star Trek show that's more in line with the original, kind of. So we'll see. Who knows? But that's cool.
All right.
Now, as far as talking about, like, I've got some, hey, if you didn't hear about this, let me share it with you.
What, this is just general gossip?
Yeah, like there's a new Addams Family movie coming in the fall.
Oh, well then. How about movies?
Let's talk about movies.
Movie time.
There might be TV shows too, but that's fine.
You can't even stick to the format.
Well, I'm trying to help
you.
Out.
Matt, this is why we can't have segments.
Exactly. Hey.
On the Twitch show.
Talking about Netflix, Castlevania I figure you'd be interested in that.
Yeah, we'll see how the new one goes.
So you've heard about it, yeah.
Have you heard all the like backstory? It's going to have a new writer and a new showrunner, and it's a completely different setting.
Yeah.
So who knows? I didn't think the previous one would be as good as it was, and I like Richard Belmont. That's the one this is going to be about.
Yeah. So anyway.
For Netflix.
But yeah, for Netflix.
And then the movie was
there's a new Addams Family movie coming in the fall. New Monsters movie.
So there's a new Addams Family and a new Monsters.
And a new Monsters movie, yeah. And guess who's directing the Monsters movie?
My eyes just rolled out of my head.
I know
it's
Rob Zombie.
Well, and guess who's playing? Man, I can't think of the wife for the Monsters right now.
Yeah. But it's his wife, isn't it?
Yeah, his wife is playing the wife on that, and she's well known as a fantastic actress. So
yes.
I am sure this will be a high quality product.
Yeah. No, I saw a little what do you want to call it? Little clip from it, and I was like, we'll see.
I'm not old enough or young enough to have a fondness for the Monsters.
I do. Out of the two, I was always more of an Addams Family guy.
Exactly, Morticia.
Yeah, there you go. But I did like Eddie Munster.
Whatever happened to Eddie Munster?
Exactly. Whatever happened to
I'm
Eddie?
looking at him.
I'm laughing because I think the guy's name in Stranger Things, Eddie, his last name is something like Munson. So I thought, wow, that's awfully close to, almost like, come on, really? But anyway,
okay, movies.
Go for it.
It's been this long. We have not talked about the Batman.
I thought we didn't touch on it.
Batman.
We didn't touch on it.
I don't think so.
Touch. Okay. I remember. Yeah, I watched it.
If we have already touched on it, folks, you just have to
we
endure it.
About how dark it was.
Oh,
just
yeah.
super dark. Like you said, I went 10 minutes in, I turned it off. It's so damn
Turn
dark.
on the lights.
Yeah, and I told you because I was going to go to work the next day, and I didn't realize it was 3 damn hours long. So I was there for 3 hours watching it. But yeah. But as much as I had low expectations, I enjoyed it in spite of the low expectations.
Yeah, I watched it in pieces. I probably watched it like an hour at a chunk 3 times.
I envy you, yeah.
And that's as much as I can say, too, is meh.
I'll say, like I said, I didn't have high hopes for Pattinson. I thought overall he did a pretty good job, better than I thought he would. And I liked the way they handled the Riddler. That he wasn't a guy prancing around in a green suit covered in question marks going,
Edward Nygma?
Yeah, exactly, and stuff like that. This guy,
that's the kind of Eddie you'd want to hang out with.
Yeah. This guy was like a real genius psychopath or something.
A lot smarter than Batman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What happened to
Batman, let me solve your riddle for you.
Yeah, I mean, basically, he's supposed to be, literally the comic was called World's Finest Detective or something. Because, I mean, anyway. But no, overall, it impressed me, but that's only because I had tremendously low expectations for it.
What is the worst Batman movie? I don't think this is it.
Oh, no, that would be one of those. Probably the one with either.
Is it Val Kilmer or is it?
Smug Bastard.
Clooney.
Cloontang. Cloontang. Yeah. So probably I would say one of those two. Those are both really bad.
Yeah.
Really, really bad.
Val Kilmer's is pretty bad, but I almost will give him a pass for being Val Kilmer.
Exactly. See, we're on the same page there.
All right. Any other movies? I got one.
Go for it, man.
Jurassic Park Dominion.
Is that the newest one?
That is the newest one. Jurassic World.
I hear people are pooping on it.
Oh, they didn't do that at the one I saw, luckily.
Well, good.
It smelled just fine in there.
That's great.
My wife loves Jurassic Park.
Like the whole down the years.
Every bit of it. Like, how many of them have you seen?
So she's the little girl that likes dinosaurs. We're always little boys that just love dinosaurs or something. Yeah.
Until this one day when she loaned this girl one of her toy dinosaurs and she buried it in a playground. There's a deep cut for you, listeners.
Yeah,
if you get that
that reference, you
write to us at 1-800.
Yeah, exactly. I'll send you something.
Walla Walla, Washington.
Yeah. So I was going to say, when you asked me, no, I think I never even saw the first one in the theaters.
Wow, you missed out.
Yeah, I saw it years later, like when I was at work or something, and then I've seen the other ones here and there piecemeal through the years on shows. The newest ones with my boy Crisp Rat, a crisp rat. The first one I saw that somehow I got bamboozled into it, and I enjoyed it at the theater. And then there's been another one, like this is the third one with him, isn't it? And I was like, crap, they've already made 3 with him. But no, I didn't see the other 2.
If you didn't see the first one in the theater, you missed out big time, buddy.
I think, the very first.
Yeah.
No, didn't see it.
Did you see Avatar in the theater?
I did, sadly.
In 3D?
I'm afraid so.
Were you at least impressed with the special effects?
Oh, I was blown away by the CGI and the 3D or whatever. It was just the hippie love message or whatever that I kind of barfed a little bit in the back of my throat.
So I'll say the first Jurassic Park is a good movie, but it also had the fantastic CGI at the time, where you're like, holy crap.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like when the water ripples.
Yeah, and some of that, there are some movies that are just that much better on the big screen, like Pacific Rim.
Yeah. Now, I saw that in the theater, Jack.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said about that. They've talked about for that shared human experience when it's almost like you can, when everyone's into it and the theater gets quiet or someone gasps near you, it just adds a little element. As long as someone's not playing on their phone or being a D-wad or whatever, that's when I hate going to movies with people. But no, I've been more of a guy that I love the theater experience, man. You know, who doesn't want to pay $20 for a tub of popcorn?
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
That's $20 for the tub of popcorn, because we had to get, and I would pull it out if I knew where it was right now. We had to get the Jurassic Park metal tin for the popcorn.
Ooh,
they had one for like $20.
Well, that's probably worth it.
That has like the logo and then the blue, which is the raptor.
Oh, yeah, I know who blue is. Oh, yeah, dog.
So that's how much my wife loves it, that we had to get the $20 popcorn tin.
She loves, not just like, she loves Jurassic Park.
She hasn't seen a Jurassic Park or Jurassic World movie that she has not enjoyed.
So is this like we can't make disparaging remarks about the H restaurant or someone will disown us?
Oh, no. She's never going to hear this.
Oh, good.
Never. Yeah, my wife does not listen to this.
So you can disparage Jurassic
Screw
Park.
Jurassic Park.
So what about the most
Screw it
recent
right
one?
in the...
But I've heard a lot of people supposedly have like, this is their least favorite of the 3, blah, blah, blah.
I like Jurassic Park. I'm fine with it. I was definitely not excited when it was like, it's time to go watch the next one.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. And it's hard going back through all 6 of them because there's been some low points.
Sure.
So if you've stuck with all 6 or you've seen all 5 so far and you're good to go, jump on it. But like you said, a lot of people talked about, oh, it's awful.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
No, it's just more the same.
Yeah. I definitely say that.
Yeah.
You know what you're getting into here.
If this is your jam, you'll like as much as the other ones. If it's not, if the other ones weren't your jam, why would this one be? Yeah. You know.
Hey, guess what? There's a part where they go somewhere and there's a bunch of dinosaurs and then they have to escape from them. Ooh. Well, they've never done that before.
Exactly.
Is there another Death Star?
Yeah, exactly.
Why, yes, we've made the 15th Death Star.
Right. So, I mean...
the T-Rex gets in a fight with another big dinosaur.
What? Yeah.
Again?
I mean, you and your spoilers.
Kids are chased by dinosaurs.
What? Some guys with machine guns get eaten by the dinosaurs. What? Yeah.
So, I liked it. I would definitely say if you're going to run out and go see it at the theaters, you might want to check out the previous movie before, because there was one big plot point I had totally forgotten. My wife's like, you didn't remember that? And I was like, nope. Yeah. I was like, I have no idea what's going on with this part. And then I was like, oh, yeah, okay, kind of, sort of, maybe. But it's a good popcorn fun movie.
I've always called one of the summertime popcorn movies.
Your life will not be any richer or poorer for seeing it or not seeing it, but it's there. And the air conditioning's cool.
Exactly. Go in. Definitely, if you're like our local AMC, it's got really comfortable seats. They've got a bar. I mean,
yeah, I'll pretty much go there and watch anything now.
Yeah, because it's heated, it's cooled, wide armrests. Like, oh man, it's a pleasure going to a movie. Absolutely, at the local AMC. So, are we at video games?
We are at video games finally, and the viewers are checking their watches because we haven't even got to the topic yet.
Wow. All right. So, you're playing a new video game, aren't you?
Yeah. So are you, sort of.
Wow. Okay.
So, Dying Light 2.
Ooh la la.
Me and Matt talked about Dying Light 1 way too much.
And yeah, I was the guy that found that one.
Yep.
Yeah. It was on special like for $6 or something.
We started playing it way after the fact. Yeah. But the good thing for us was, hey, Dying Light 2 is right around the corner, whereas that had been one that people had just waited for and waited for and waited for.
Yeah.
So I bring Matt over and go, hey, check it out, man. You played the last one and you loved it so much. I said, this is the only thing, though. You can die as much as you want like Dark Souls. It doesn't matter. Don't use up all my consumables. So what does he do? He immediately runs to basically what would be like the city guard faction and starts attacking them. And then he gets a kill on sight order for my character. So
and I huffed all of his speed or whatever.
Yeah, I'm like, don't use up all my consumables. What does he do?
I said, huffing up his inhalers.
So this is why we can't have nice things.
Exactly. But now after having played it on his beautiful, gorgeous PlayStation 5, PS5, I'm like, ooh, la,
all
la.
black PS5.
Like, I need to get me a PS5 and or play me some Dying Light, which I remember we talked about before. I could never remember the name for some reason.
Dying Light. It's an odd name.
It really is. It doesn't really roll off the tongue necessarily, but Dying Light. But it's and right now you can get the original and all the DLCs for like 70% off. It's like called the Extended Ultimate Edition or some crap like that. But right now,
if I had to choose between 1 and 2 right now, I would choose 1. Yeah. No kidding. So if you can get that fantastic deal on it,
I mean, it's 70% off. It's dirt cheap, and they've got a ton of DLCs.
And you can do multiplayer in that, and we'll be happy to do some multiplayer with you in 1 or 2.
You know it. I am EQSK Rogue. Yeah. On that, like someone wanted to find me or whatever.
Yeah, just drop us a line.
Yeah, just drop us a line.
Drop us a line. So for the Dying Light 2, from your 5-minute playthrough, you liked it?
Oh yeah, it looks
more the same.
I'll say it's more the same, but you've got some new content. So if you were like, man, I love that, but I've done all that now. Well, there's new content. But I mean, looting was the same. Fighting was the same, except for something like this time around, you could like specifically target a leg or a neck or whatever. Like I whacked one guy's leg.
I think you could do that in the first one.
Okay, yeah, but I think you had to take certain specialty skills to do that. Maybe you can just do it gratis now. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, I loved how like I chopped one guy's leg and it slowed him down. Because like I'm fighting a pack of dudes, I'm like, let me whack his leg. Now he's limping, and I can back away and fight.
Well, I seem to remember in the other one you could like cut somebody's arm or leg off or what have you.
Yeah, but it's like they have those skill trees. It seemed like you had to go down the skill tree a certain point to be able to target arms, legs, heads, or something like that. I say that, but
it could be.
Yeah, it's been.
You could probably target whatever you wanted. It just wasn't going to have an effect.
Right.
Like you can hack at his arm all day, but it's not coming off till you get the limb chopping.
Exactly, and yeah, you could cripple limbs and stuff. But yeah, like Eddie's saying, the first one right now is available with all the DLCs, really cheap, or 2's out, and it looks really good. It's more the same. So if you liked 1, you'll like 2.
Yeah, and from having played it a little bit longer, I will say the tutorial level or beginning level seems like it drags for quite a while. At the beginning, it seemed like the weapons were a lot harder to find. So that was one of the things I was like, where are some freaking weapons? Because it's got the typical durability thing. So every 10 minutes, you're like, I need another one. I need another one. Yeah, but now that I'm more into the open world, it seems like I'm finding them a lot more frequently.
And I'm wondering if more of these companies are going to more of an open world kind of thing like Elden Ring. I wonder.
Everything is open ring now. It's Pokemon, but open world. It's Dark Souls, but open world.
Yeah. And that's good and bad, you know.
Yeah, it's good for them to branch out, but it gets old in a hurry when everybody is doing it.
Yeah. And it's kind of sometimes you're going to get a better experience with a focused, tailored story. You know, some people, I would start playing almost anything they ever put out for Elden Rings, and before you know it, I ran off on some side quest and went down the rabbit hole. And then a week later, I'd go, oh, there's the main storyline. Wait, let me get back to that. But that's not everyone's cup of tea. You know?
Yeah, there's been a decent amount of side quests so far that I've gone off on. And this one supposedly has a lot more decision-making because there are 2 major factions. So you can go, do you want to really help these guys out or help these guys out? Which is kind of making me think of like 76.
Yeah.
Are you for the Brotherhood of Steel or are you for the Settlers? Or are you for this?
Or for the, what do you call the D-bags? The
Raiders.
The Raiders, yeah. So I like the
So there's some faction stuff that you can do too.
Yeah. And that can be fun.
And there's an overall like just villain for the 2 of them where you're like, well, they're okay and you're okay, but those guys, those are the bad guys.
Those are the jerks. Yeah.
And it looks like Dracula might be the ultimate bad guy, which is kind of weird for that game.
Wow. Okay, interesting.
Somebody that's basically done.
The guy calls himself that, maybe.
Well, no, he's Morbius himself, perhaps.
Oh,
I'm still early in the game, so that's not a spoiler.
Now, talking about, just a quick aside back to movies or whatever.
It's Morbin time.
I've heard everybody really trash on Morbius, like that's the worst Marvel movie ever.
Which I'm actually a big Morbius fan, if you can believe that.
In the comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I had no interest in seeing that movie. You could smell that one a mile away.
Yeah, I think it's got that stank on it.
They even re-released it in theaters because they thought maybe it had been memed up enough that people would go see it ironically. Nope. It flopped again.
Wow.
So it's one of the first Marvel movies or something that they've said has flopped twice.
And I'm not going to stay away just because, people are putting stank on Jared Leto, because right now you say the wrong thing to the wrong person, wrong time, or something you said on Twitter 10 years ago and then someone digs it up. But I don't know anything about Leto. I'm not taking sides. But the fact is right now I think Leto's name is mud too. Which
I'll
help.
take sides from just the stories that you hear about. Like he sent his co-workers and fellow actors on the movies like dead bats in the mail, and one of those like character actors. So he's like, I'm playing the Joker, so I'm going to be an a-hole to everybody for the next 2 years. Yeah. So I mean, if those things are true, then yeah, in fact, screw him.
Well, like I said, I've heard stories, but I don't know. It's kind of like we talked about. There's people in our gaming world hobby that we've heard some stories about. And you're like, I'm going to form my own opinion. And then you meet these people in some time and you go, yep, they're a dickhole, but at least I can say that from my own personal experiences. I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and I'm all about second chances with people.
I'm all about second chances, but I'm also for hating people that have things better than me from afar. Why not? That's my God-given right as an American.
Why not?
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Some people wake up in the morning and have some coffee. I have some nice, fresh hate.
He has some haterade. Hate.
Jared Leto.
Like I said, I don't know anything about the guy, but I knew there'd been some mud slung at him, but I didn't hear what the mud was.
Well, look, he thinks he's so great, but who's going to be doing a show from Joe Goodman's kitchen first? Us or him?
Us,
all right.
That's right. He wishes. Okay, so enough about that. We kind of went off track. So video games.
That's it. As our listeners are saying right now.
Yeah.
They're like, wrap it up. But guess what? We're not done.
Oh, my gosh.
We haven't got to the topic. The topic is here, though.
Yeah.
The topic is NTRPG 2022 wrap-up.
Yeah.
Luckily, I have very, very little to say, so this is all on Matt now. This is Matt torturing you.
And I'll try to keep it brief. So the one thing that's... I don't know how.
It was fantastic as always.
No, great con. Love going. They're the guys who inspired us to do what we do. And this year, everyone, you could tell there was so much energy in the way of like, we're finally back together. We're finally getting to have a con. And you might go, well, they've had a con the last 2 years, but it was like COVID con, and you kind of walked around going, COVID, whatever. And the sense the attendance was way down, and because of what was going on in the world. So I mean, this felt like the year that everyone was just like, we're back together, yay.
And it was definitely the family reunion.
Oh, yeah, there was lots
That's the family reunion con for me now.
Absolutely. Hugs and kisses and
kissing, handshakes, hugs, all that is back.
Yeah.
I think Matt, too, was hoping we'd shed a little bit of that.
Yeah.
After the COVID times, I'm okay with a fist bump.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people would come at me with their open hand. They would receive a balled up fist, and they would finally get the hint and ball their fist. I'm like,
they weren't. They turned it into a hug every time.
Yeah. There were a lot of hugging and stuff, but I'm perfectly content with fist bumps or elbow bumps and all that stuff. I've gotten used to that, and I like it. But anyway, we had a great time. Got to see a lot of our old friends we've made there. We made so many, and a lot of people throw that word around. I don't. There's people that are genuine friends that we've made through their time there, and we saw those people, and it was so good.
We got to see Ron. That's always nice. We don't see Ron very often.
No, we don't get to see Ron
almost never.
All. But like
new Matt,
new Matt, Ian, John, Watson, who's awesome. Had to spend time with Bill Barsh. Just so many people. I know I'm going to leave somebody out, so I'm not going to try to go on the whole list or something. We'd be here forever. But I tell you one little funny aside that we were talking about earlier. At one point, Stefan, and I'm going to slaughter his last name, but Surratt, I hope I got that right. He did the Brimstone Cradle for Weird Frontiers. He was an NTRPG, and actually he's a Texas boy. He's from Denton, and so it was good to see him. He came and sat down at our booth, and me and him, we rapped for a while. He's a cool cat. We had quite the neat conversation, and I think he currently has a Kickstarter going for Mysteries of the Multiverse for MCC,
and it is funded within like an hour, 2 hours. So it's going well, and he seems like a cool cat.
No, and definitely the pedigree's there in that I own his Brimstone Cradle, and I've heard good things about. He did something before for MCC that was more of a zine, and that did really well. I think it was like, I can't remember.
Was that the Merchants?
Yeah, Merchants of the Multiverse. Thank you. And so anyway, so it was neat to see him, and because I know they do Raw.
There's only one bad thing I can say about him, and that he's got yet another Matt as a sidekick.
God bless him. Yeah, that guy's name is what? Matt Rogers?
I think
Robertson. Something. Yeah, but they do Raw, right?
He's the Grape Ape.
Yeah, they do Rules as Written.
Yeah,
and I think those guys are going to follow us Tuesday. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, and they both said they'd come down to the Long Con, so the Goodman Games family.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd be good.
Keeps growing.
Maybe we could do a little, so who knows? But yeah, it was cool to see him and really get to meet him in person and hang out. And so we made some new friends, which we always do. Levi was there, and Skeeter. They were across
David
the
Beatty.
way. David Beatty and Hobbs was there.
I actually got to talk to him. I have not really talked to him at all, but at least this time I said, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?"
Yeah, he's been coming for years. Well, maybe not every year, but I remember back in the day us gaming on. We played that same game, but it was on two different tables, and my team destroyed his team. Anyway, but no, I got to meet a lot of the people that have been on Soulburn and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, it was cool to make new friends. People, Greg Gillespie was there, which he and I met a few years ago at the con, and yeah, so it was really cool just to catch up with people. We really didn't put in to play too many games because we really wanted to have time to interact with our various friends we have there.
I didn't sign up for any games, so I could just hang out.
Yep.
And I ran 2.
Yeah, that's right. I ran 3 games, and I played in 1.5. So
you want to talk about the games that we ran?
Yeah, sure.
The games that we ran. Yeah. What did you run?
I ran DCC, The Caverns of the Dead God.
I heard that's getting really, really close to being published.
It's so close, it's frightening. And so I really got some great feedback, some great input from my players. And one of my players, which y'all might have heard of this guy, what's his name? Something, David Beatty.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, he gave me some interesting. I'm going to add an element to the adventure. Some people are going to be like, "This sucks." Well, you can thank David for that. I'm kidding. It's going to be interesting. But no, got some really good feedback, and I think and everyone seemed to have fun playing DCC Caverns of the Dead God. Oh, I had a guy play at my table who did some artwork for me. I never showed this to you or told you about it. This is the first time I'm mentioning it, but this guy's done artwork for like video games and trading cards and stuff. I mean, this guy's talented, and he's been more, I think, an overseer kind of guy or whatever, but yeah, super nice guy. And he did a picture of his dwarf character, and it said
okay, I think I saw that.
Yeah, keep going, Matt, or keep stabbing or something, whatever. It's really neat. I'm gonna put it up somewhere because it's really nice, and he was super nice. I'm glad I had a good table for players at that table. Beatty was there, like I said. My buddy John Lyles, which we talked about gaming, we just never could seem to get together, but he was at at my table, and he had a lot of fun, and we had a good time. Beatty, and I had the usual suspects. I had Jason and Gus, or my favorite nephew, Gus, but yeah, good game, good times.
All right. I'm trying to think what I ran first. I think I ran Barbarians first.
I think you did.
Then I had the Moore family. So we had a good time with that. You can't go wrong with Barbarians and kids.
No.
So they destructed and destroyed and went home with a little red dragon.
There you go. How cool
So a good time was had by all.
Yeah. I did my tournament game, which I do on Fridays, at Archon and at NTRPG. And so I'll say as a caveat, and these guys might have had fun, but some people, I guess, don't know what to expect from a tournament game or maybe my tournament game. But I laugh because if you remember when people would come by the table, hey, Matt, looking forward to that tournament game, I'd be like, it's going to be stupid, And I mean that in the best sort of way, but But yeah, I mean, it's over the top, it's zany, it's gonzo, it's, So there were a couple of guys that I don't think entirely got into it, maybe, because it wasn't their
Yeah, that's always a problem.
Yeah, their cup of tea. But they were great players and great guys. But anyway, but other than that, I think everybody at the table had a really good time. As a goof online, he goes by TGMO, like Tigmo, whatever, and he makes these cool old OSR patches and stuff. Well, me and this guy had talked a couple times. I think I'd ordered some patches from him. Super nice guy. He ended up playing at my table, and we had a lot of fun with that. Yeah, but Mega Mutant Mayhem, which was, Reed Sanfilippo's America, which, I love Reed's work, and I love my own little post-APOC East Texas or whatever. And so this was East Texas, North Texas. It took place in the ruined, the bombed-out ruins of old Dallas. And so I try to have little callbacks, like you get to play against the ghosts of the Dallas Cowboys, and like the Chaos team is cheered on by Jerry Jones, and Tom Landry cheers on the Law team. And I had there's a place downtown where there's an art fixture. It's a 30-foot tall eyeball. So I put the 30-foot tall eyeball. But I play tested that with some of our local boys. James King, Ron helped test that, and we had a lot of fun. I got some good feedback from them and Garrett, and so I felt like we had fun with it, testing it. And the table, we had Hobbs, Gillespie, other people come by from the hallway and just stand there grinning ear to ear because we're just loud and boisterous and just having a ton of fun. I hope we weren't too loud. Weren't you playing?
Oh, see, that's where I'm like, I didn't even think about you being next to me because we were in our own little world.
Yeah, but I asked for us to be put in the library, and then I thought about, oh man, I'm so loud. And particularly my tournament game, I know had to be loud, but I was wondering if you guys were over there rolling your eyes at us, but you never said anything to me, so it couldn't have been too bad. But that is kind of open in a way that, it kind of...
I would never want my table to be next to your table.
I wouldn't want anybody to be next to my table, God bless them. But anyway.
But no, we didn't have any problems.
Well, good.
Well, I guess that leads right into my game that was going on.
Yeah.
Was I an hour before you? Yeah, it was an hour
because
before
Matt Couch died in your game and got to join my game.
Oh, thank God.
And be on the winning team.
Thank God.
Yeah.
So I had 2 mats, which is too many mats for any game. But I also had the Matt Robertson from Rules as Written.
Yeah.
And he'll factor into the end of this story.
Okay.
But new Matt, our boy Matt Couch, decided he was going to be Captain Jack Sparrow in the game, which was Lamentations of the Flame Princess.
Ooh.
So that was the grinding gear, which is always a lot of fun for me. It may not be any fun for the players, but who cares? I had run Barbarians. Barbarians
is very lighthearted.
Yeah, that's the all light and white. So then I can run Lamentations or something that's just as bleak and dark as I want, and I feel like I balance out. That wasn't any cruel GM stuff. And that one, it's kind of like you signed up for it.
Yeah.
You knew what you were getting into. I don't feel bad at all.
Yeah, if you're playing Lamentations, you better expect to get abused.
Because even the description of that one was, can you find the treasure and survive? Yeah. Sadly, no.
Yeah.
It's right there in the bold print for you to read. Yeah. So they went through part of the dungeon. Captain Jack Sparrow was there for a little while until he was quietly minding his own business because he knew how deadly it was, and he wanted to stick around and annoy us with Captain Jack Sparrow for a while. So somebody else set off a trap where he was and killed him almost instantly, which was fantastic.
And which is hilarious because he's like, I'll hang back and then I won't die. And he died regardless.
Yep. So all he did in that adventure was stand around outside.
Wow.
And he still died.
And
he still found a way to die.
Awesome.
And then at the very end, they got a little bit stumped on where to go because they had missed one secret passage. So Matt decided to use his summon spell, which is the most DCC Gonzo-esque thing that you can do, and it's just the spellcaster rips open a portal in reality, and something comes out.
And you hope you can take control of it. You might, and that's not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed at all.
Yeah.
And he's a first level caster.
Oops.
So that, I mean, that's just like, I'm going to summon something from somewhere and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
So kind of like rolling the NPCs, which you love so much. Or not the NPCs, but it's not hirelings, but whatever it is. You remember what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Is it hirelings or is it
Henchmen?
Henchmen?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Minions.
so this one has a bunch of tables to roll on to see what you get. So it's like, okay, this creature comes through at like 5 hit die.
Oof. If you have to fight it, you're poo-poo out of
Yeah.
luck.
Now let's see, why is it here? To kill all living things.
Your first level, it's got 5 hit die and it wants to kill all living things.
Yeah. Now let's roll up its appearance. Okay, it's a being of pure energy.
Okay.
So if it punches, it did like, I don't know, 2d8
obscene
points
amounts
of
damage.
energy damage.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, now it has 6 powers and it has 8 different limbs that have different abilities. Like it had a natural armor class of 18, which, I mean, in the old school days, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And then it was permanently blurred.
Oh, good Lord.
So it always
you
had a
miss
plus
half
2.
the time. Yeah.
For that one, I think they just had it at a plus 2.
Wow.
But yeah, so that pretty much it's at a 20 now. And then, yeah, it had all these ridiculous powers. It could raise the dead at will. Guess it's basically standing in a graveyard too.
Oh,
So it's not even like, where am I going to get any corpses? It's like, dude, there's a corpse mound here that's 20 by 20 wide or something.
We're waiting with bated breath the part where you start chortling and say, and then after all that, he didn't take control of it.
So we roll all this stuff and we roll and we roll. And he's like, well, when do I check to see if I can control it? I'm like, after we do all this stuff and
make
show
this death machine.
Yeah. Oh, one of the other powers that it didn't come home. It didn't come home alone. It didn't enter the realm by itself. It had a little clone of itself too. So that was like 3 hit die.
Good Lord.
So it's like, okay, when you open this portal, you couldn't control that so much. So it stayed open an extra second. So yeah, the thing comes through that you summoned and his little friend.
His little running buddy. Hilarious.
So yeah, that was a good time. So at the end of it, with
So
all
at
this
point,
build up,
it's very exciting, but also at the same time, you're about to get your ass kicked by it.
oh yeah, it's just like, oh, and guess this and guess that. It had like an immunity to all normal weapons.
And this first level characters, they have no magic weapons.
Right. It had a vulnerability to silver.
Oh, hilarious. Okay.
So all this, boom, 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 this, that, X, Y, Z. And what happens? He finally has to make that roll to control it. Nope, not even close.
Not even close.
So what does the wizard do?
Runs.
Runs for his life.
That's right. After he summons this thing, he's like, oh, well, deuces. That's
And 2 of the party members stuck around to fight it.
And died horribly.
But they actually had a good showing.
Really?
Because they had stolen all the silverware in the inn.
Silverware.
So they're like, can we use that? And I was like, yes, you can.
Heck yeah.
So they put up a valiant fight.
So I got to ask, who were the 2 that stuck it out to fight?
You wouldn't know them. They were new. They were new to the system.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought you had Papa John at your table for this.
That's where you need Twitch again. If you think he stuck around to fight it,
No.
you are sadly.
I was going to be astonished and pleasantly so and be like, you know what, John's went up in my estimation, but I shouldn't.
No.
He ran for he was the first person to turn tail after the wizard.
Oh, yeah.
That's hilarious. All right.
So they put up a valiant fight, and I had warned them in advance. This is grim and dark, and you're gonna die. So yes, indeed, they died, but they did put up a good fight.
Well, good. They comported themselves well.
One of the things that I like about Lamentations, as much as I hate Raggy and Where's My Damn Book?
Yeah.
It's been over 10 years now.
Been a decade now. Yeah.
Where's my damn book? I don't even want it anymore.
Right.
But one of the things I like about it is kind of like DCC is like, you're no hero, you're a reaver. You're more of a cutthroat. In this, they're like, if you're an adventurer, you're pretty much a freaking nut.
Yeah.
Only the craziest of people would go into dungeons.
Full of curses and diseases.
And villagers hate you.
Yeah.
They don't want adventurers to come into town and welcome you because you're always bringing in some horrible disease, this, that, or the other. So the 2 that run, where do they run? The nearest major population center.
Right.
So this thing that's going to kill everything is going to follow them right into.
He wants to destroy all human life.
He's going to follow them right into town.
And so you're the cause. You're the reason why, adventurers hate. I mean, townsfolk hate adventurers.
But yeah, they proved the saying as it goes or whatever.
Yeah.
They're the ones that made it come true. So
that's funny. But no, Raggy, he's a jerk. But some of it, there's a lot of those Lamentations adventures that are solid gold, and
Yeah.
and they're easily in any of these old school.
I don't
games.
think I'll ever run Lamentations again. It'll just be under DCC or something else. Because why?
Back you could easily run it in DCC, Labyrinth Lord,
Yeah, any of that
BX,
OSR stuff.
whatever OSR stuff. Yeah.
So that's what if you want to run some of those, get one that Raggy wrote back in the day. You got to get his original stuff before he went nuts.
Off the rails, yeah.
And then just run it under whatever system you want. But this one's one where it lulls you into complacency.
Kind of like Fangfrost Doom or whatever.
Where you're like, nothing happens. Okay, you're dead.
Yeah, you remember walking by the table and someone goes, "It's going really slow," and I just grinned and winked and said, "Yeah, it is for now until it isn't."
It's one of those things. But they did a lot of pretty smart moves.
Sounds like it.
They encountered some monsters and didn't have to fight them. So what killed them was summoned by their wizard. So,
And that totally sounds like Lamentation.
But that's the first time anybody's used that summon spell. So props to Matt. I was glad we got to do it, but it's like doing algebra.
Wow.
And if you like rolling tables, that's one that you get to roll a lot.
So grinding gear.
The grinding gear. Yep.
Cool.
All right. What else did you run since you had 3 to my 2?
Well, I will say there's one more quick little add-on. Yeah, so the Mega Mutant Mayhem, like I said, I ran that at NTRPG. I'll be running that again Friday night at LongCon. Like I said, that's when I like to do my tournament games. But as far as what else I ran, though, on Thursday night, not long after we got there, Levi had reached out to me, early on, or months and months ago, and asked that he's like, "Would you mind running my game at North Texas?" So I ran Jungle Tomb of the Mummy Bride.
And what was the big bad guy's name in that? Lord.
No, I mean, there's no. The thing about it was.
What was the mummy, the goodly mummy or whatever, right? Lord.
Yeah, right. Well, so this takes place in like an Aztec type setting or whatever, and these names, a chittle, pottle, tip, tup, tup, pip, pop, whatever. It's like, good Lord, it was just tough pronouncing these, and like the evil deity, Chotzonatzen Dipple Doppel. I mean, it's just like it was like tongue tanglers. But anyway, so we had a lot of fun with me trying to pronounce all these various Aztec. Chapultepec, names or whatever.
Which I think, did you have all the Moors in that one or just 2?
I had Ryan and Grady, but I didn't have any of the kids, I don't think.
So when they ended up, that was your afternoon game?
It was like midday, but yeah, it was after lunch.
So they had my evening game, and so the big bad guy was Lord because I'd gone over there and listened to part of Matt running this, and old Lord he shall not be named, blah blah blah.
Yeah. But that was the big joke, was by the time I had pronounced the name numerous times, but towards the end I was like, I'm not pronouncing this crap more, because it elicited gales of laughter every time. So I'm just like, Lord, whatever. And everybody knew I was talking about. Well, so when I see Levi afterwards, he comes up and slaps me on the back. And Levi's just such a great guy. And he's like, how did it go? They loved it. I had fun running it. It's really a quality adventure. And mind you, I just ran what was like the hidden secret level that he had told me. He gave me a couple suggestions, like what will fit good in a con slot. The hidden secret level ran well, but that I didn't even touch on the core ziggurat. But that book, if you get it, there's so much content there. It's well worth the money. I'll say that. The artwork is great. The content is really good. I was really impressed with the content, seriously. And, but anyway, but Levi's like, hey, how'd it go? Went great. The only thing I'll say is you might want to put a pronunciation guide in for these various, Aztec names or whatever, which is mostly me joking, but yeah, no, those names are something else. But no, the players had fun. I had a good time running it. So that was an easy request to comply with.
And since I had seen maybe the last hour or half hour of it, when I did my Barbarians game with those guys, I was able to lift a lot of the stuff out of there. Like there was the tiara crown. So there was the tiara crown in my game, and then there was a massive egg, and they're like, that snake is in there, isn't it?
And
so that was pretty cool.
Because you have to remember, Eddie's Barbarian games at these cons are improv, and it's really cool because it's fun to be dusting off those improv chops. And if the players are engaged with the improv aspect, it can be a lot of fun for everybody. A lot of fun. So that was the games you ran, the games I ran. I got a chance to play in because I love anything post-APOC. So Barsh had done his BX game system to use with his adventures or any of the old school adventures. It's his baby. It's a few tweaks, but essentially it's basically BX, the old stuff. And so he's working on a BX Gamma world of his own. And so I got a chance to play in that game, and it was it was good. It was fun. But eventually, towards the end of the evening, I had these guys were playing.
Mjorky Borg.
Yeah, Morgan.
Smorgasbord.
Morkborg. And so the guys were like, "Come on, man!" So I hated to do it, but I bowed out of just toward the end of Bill's game, which Bill's running a great game. But these guys, were like, "Come on, man, we haven't had a chance to game together." So I came downstairs, and I joined their game.
That was the only game that I played in.
Yeah, pretty much. But that game was at the last voyage of the Neutron Star, and it was interesting. I'm sure he's going to publish it. I would recommend it. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, so I had to break away at the end. I did, and I went to play with these guys, Mort Borg, and again it was Matt Couch improving, and I gotta say, Ron was blown away. Ron, when we talked recently, he's new Matt. You've coined a phrase now. That's all I could go on about how much fun he had playing Mort Borg with new Matt. He goes, he's running that at Long Con. So Matt, Ron will be in your table, I'm sure.
The Lilies loved it as well.
Oh yeah, the Lilies ate it up.
Okay, so just to make a long podcast longer.
Yeah.
What do you think about Bjork? Or what has kept you from getting into it earlier?
Like I told somebody recently when they asked me about it, it's basically, we already discovered, oh gosh, I'm brain farting. It's the Black Hand. It's David Black, the Black Hack. Yeah. We discovered the Black Hack, which is very simple OSR, kind of gaming.
And that book is basically a pamphlet.
And to me, I was going to say the game is basically a blank pamphlet that's got this really wild, crazy art, whatever. So it's really more about attitude and atmosphere than the actual content, which is not a bad game, but it's really, you could, if you had some really crazy gonzo metal, dark Swedish metal mentalities, you could write some stuff for Black Hack and it would be this, so it's not like they recreated the wheel or something. It's this new paradigm in gaming. It's really more about, it's all about attitude. It's the attitude, So, there's like, what's your special ability for your character? I summon infant baby minions out of corpses or whatever. Like, oh, that's totally metal, man, Or it's like, I can blow weird dust into your face that makes you, go on a rampage or whatever or something, So it's really all about the attitude but as far as being this, like, I got the PDF when I heard all the hoo-ha about it, and I looked at it and went, yeah, okay. I'm not going to trash it. If you like it and you love it, good for you. It's great. I played it. It was fun. But as far as like as much buzz as it got, I'm like, I don't know.
You're just a hater. Can't you just enjoy things?
I'm really not. But anyway, I had fun with that game. But a big part of it was I was probably getting to play with Watson and Ian and
that made me think a lot about play styles. In that one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Then I went back to my room and wept.
Now, I will say, one other thing I did play, I played Gladiator. And I've meant to play Gladiator a number of times in NTRPG, but never got a chance for whatever reason. Well, Rob came and got me and said, hey, you signed up. I got a guy who wants to play. Come on. And I think they were really figuring, we're having to come and get you. You're not that engaged. You never played Gladiator before. This will be an easy throwaway match for this guy. And actually, it was Edwin Nagy. And so I really didn't even know him other than until I had went on the podcast with those guys. And he's a super nice guy. And we had a really fun game together. But, he destroyed my character. But before he could, I savaged his character and disarmed him a couple times. And so finally, Rob's like, I'm calling the game. He's like, I thought this would be over in 15 minutes. But he played better, but I rolled better, I will say. Because I had a little something, maybe a little potato water. Yeah.
Well, duh.
It was later in the evening. I had a little bit. And then for Tuesday, I'd never done Gladiator. But by the end of it, I kind of got the concept. So next day, I was supposed to play against Mason, which is our good friend Gary Oliver's son. But Mason was dodging me or ducking me or whatever, and I was like, no, but seriously. But it was going to be an easy throwaway game for him. Never could happen by day. So I kind of put on Rob like, hey, come and catch me before it gets too late in the evening, because I'm not going to be any good again. When does he come and get me? Late in the evening. But this time around, I knew a little more. Well, it was, again, I can't think of the guy's name now. It's been too long. We should have done this sooner. But really nice guy. And he was, but I mean, this is kind of pissed me off a little bit. I love Rob, but they basically told him, oh yeah, his leg's hanging by a thread. Be sure to work the leg. Like, let him figure that out on his own. But I mean, so the guy had the advantage already, like, work his leg. It'll be an easy game. Karma was with me on that deal. I mean, because I turned to Rob and I was like, what the hell, dude? And he just kind of laughed, said, the guy would see you limping into the arena. He'd know. I'm like, okay.
You were a sacrificial lamb through this whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, really. But again, this guy ended up beating me, but I just savage.
You were a spoiler.
Yeah. So he was so beat up that when he went to fight the very next person, they just snuffed him almost immediately. So say what you will. I mean, for my first time like that, and I had so much fun, I told Rob, you better believe I'm going to be there if he comes and runs it at Long Con, which he says he will. And he also does the gladiator, or not gladiator, but the
chariot races,
which are a lot of fun. And definitely in honor of, Doug was always big about cash prizes and what on that. So we're gonna have some good prizes. We're gonna have some fun. Come, I'm calling you out. Come find me at Long Con, and I'm gonna be doing gladiator. I'm gonna be the guy to beat, because now I know how to do it. So look out. If those dice stay hot, I'll be unbeatable.
Yeah,
yeah, right. My guys are going to get stone cold. But anyway, I had a lot of fun Gladiator, so I'll put that out there. So any interesting anecdotes or stories from NTRPG?
Yes. I sold a lot of Carnage in the casino.
Yeah, you did.
We sold a lot of T-shirts. It was a good time for the Long Con.
Yeah.
The Long Con was the talk of the con, if you will.
Yeah.
So a lot of good buzz. Will this pay off?
Oh, absolutely.
We'll see.
Absolutely. We're going to hit our numbers that I have projected. I project that we will hit our projection. But yeah, everyone was super nice, so great to us. There was so much good energy. We had a great time, and it was awesome to be back in the Hearths and Hearts, back with our friends there at North Texas.
Yeah, I purposefully didn't play any games just so I could hang out. And that was a good call. And yeah, I was glad I did.
Yeah, he twisted my arm, and I'm glad he did, because we had a really great time with our friends there. I'm not going to share that story, but anyway.
Thanks to all the people that showed up and showed out wearing their Long Con shirts on Saturday.
Yeah, we gave away some cool prizes, those people. Yep. I think people were pleasantly surprised by what we had.
Yeah, and you could say, 10% of the people there on Saturday were wearing our merch.
Yeah, and I know if he could have been there, he would have. Our buddy Webb, from Austin.
Oh, yeah.
But I know he's been having some stuff.
Jeffrey,
hearts, your thoughts are with you, man. You're going to do great, and we want to see you at Long Con in November. And I'm going to hook you up, because I know you would have worn
Juicy burger.
Yeah, you would have worn maybe you need to swear off the burgers of what's going on. Yeah, but actually,
that which doesn't kill you.
I was to say he'll have great arteries and stuff by then. They'll be like brand new. But yeah, no, Juicy burger, and I'll hook you up with some swag, because I know you would have worn your T-shirt if you could have. But our thoughts are with you, amigo. So I think pretty much.
Is that it?
I think so.
Ain't that enough?
I would hope so.
So earlier, just before we started this podcast, we were talking about podcasts that go on for too long and just long at the tooth and blah, 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 blah. They won't wrap up. What's our longest episode been? And we joked around about, we usually go an hour. So now we are at an hour and 33.
Wow. But we haven't talked for a while. I miss these folks.
Yeah, consider this a double episode, if you will.
Yeah.
It's number 63.
Wow.
We are ever so close to hitting that magic 75 and then 100 right behind it.
Wow.
Now that we are producing this and the Twitch show, we need your ideas now more than ever. Won't you please contribute?
Please give us feedback, info. Keep telling us that this segment's too long,
Yeah, whichever one you don't like this week. That's fine.
But we want to hear it. We want to know. But yeah, man.
Well, I will say with that though, every time somebody says, talk about that less, somebody will come up to me right after and go like, you guys should talk about that more.
Yeah, we had somebody telling us like, you should talk about your home games, and I thought, God, I think that'd bore people to tears, but you just never know, you know. But yeah.
But kind of like you'll get the don't talk about TV shows, but then you'll have somebody that's like, hey, talk more about your TV shows.
I've got some great tips from you guys on the next thing to watch, you know, to binge. So you just never know.
All right. Well, that clock on the wall says long, long ago, we were all out of hit points.